I am having way too much fun reading Beowulf. This is weird. Hirorogar and Hrothgar. I'm sorry, I had to sneeze there. Oh, man, I gotta sneeze. I gotta sneeze again. Hold on. Hrothgar! Excuse me. He made good his boast, gave out rings, armbands at the banquet. That's interesting. He's giving out merch. Yo, what up? It's your boy Hrothgar. Be sure and like and subscribe. I sub for sub. Be sure and check out our merch. The brand new armbands are in stock, but only for a limited time. Be sure and get those. Where should we build this giant mead hall? Huh, maybe we should build it over there, right next to the darkness? You think that's a good place? Garfield, they called this cruel spirit. Oh, doth he hate the Mondays, and eateth of the lasagna. Oh, wait, Grendel. There you go. I'm sorry, I got my G's confused. Hello there. Welcome to story time. What is and has always been very classy. Hello, everybody. It's me, Mr. Steve, and you might be asking yourself, where is that large automobile? No, you might be asking yourself, hey, Mr. Steve, why are you so dressed up? Because this is going to be a very highbrow, very classy story time. But yeah, huh? You like? The tie has little skulls on them. I clean up nice, don't I? You might be asking yourself, the question that everybody has been asking in our new quarantined Zoom world, am I wearing pajamas? You bet your sweet bippy I'm wearing pajamas. I don't want to ever wear regular pants. Ever again. So kids, let me explain to you what we're going to be doing today. This is going to be one of the weirdest story times we have ever done. So I will be reading, can't believe I'm actually doing this. I'm going to be reading Beowulf, the epic poem that was written a long time ago. Let me explain to you why I'm going to be reading this. Originally, I was going to read this. The Cat in the Hat 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yay! The Cat in the Hat 2, The Revenge of the Hat. The Cat in the Hat 2, Cat Harder. I don't like this book. I do not like this book. I feel that with a lot of Dr. Seuss's works, people go, Dr. Seuss, he is a genius. Everything he's done is brilliant. No, it's not all knocking it out of the park. You know, Dr. Seuss was human. He is allowed to make mistakes and write books that aren't that great. And I don't like The Cat in the Hat 2, Tokyo Drift. I don't like this one. So I wasn't excited about reading it. And then I decided to do that thing that Mr. Steve does sometimes where I pretend to read this big adult book in the beginning. And then I go, oh. And then I read the kid book. And I said, oh, you know, it would be funny if I read Beowulf. And then I started thinking about it. I've never really read this book before. And I think that I am a pretty good guy when it comes to getting an adult story and making it accessible for kids. I've never read this before. But we're going to read it. We're just going to read it. I am going to be reading Beowulf to children. Mr. Steve doesn't like talking down to kids, okay? Mr. Steve likes challenging children. That's why my story times are filled with references to pop culture stuff. It flames. Flames!
Flames on the side of my face.
See? No other kids' channel is like this. I'm still the world's greatest grandma, by the way. So we're going to read this. I can get rid of this. Ha-ha! We're going to read this book, Beowulf, which is actually a story about a monster named Scott Baio. He's an actor. He was Chachi in Happy Days. Blah, 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 intro, okay. Okay, so this is the introduction. Is the introduction longer than the story? Let me tell you how long the introduction is. We're at page LXIV. Now, I know Roman numerals because I grew up with Rocky Balboa movies, so L is 50, 55, and then the I before the V, that's a subtraction. So page 54? Wow, okay. Beowulf. Attend! I already don't like it. We have heard of the thriving of the throne of Denmark, how the folk kings flourished in former days. The folk kings. Oh, yeah, that's a movie. It's called The Mighty Wind. It's really funny.
As you know, back in 1970, I started on a series called What Happened?
R.I.P. Fred Willard.
And every time something would go wrong, I would look at the camera and say, hey, what happened?
How the folk kings flourished in former days, how those royal athelings? That's probably a ad-lib comedy troupe in Chicago, the athelings. Earned that glory. Was it not Skywild Sheffling? Sheffing? Was it not Skyld? S-C-Y-L-D. I want to say, so it's probably pronounced Skyld, but I don't believe in silent letters. I think that all letters should be heard. So Skywild Sheffing that shook the halls. Why was he shaking the halls? You know you're supposed to deck them. Took mead benches. Don't take my mead benches. Taught encroaching foes to fear him, who found in childhood lacked clothing. Oh my goodness, you mean when he was born he didn't have a three-piece suit? Raise your hands if you were born without clothes. Show of hands. Show of hands. Yet he lived and prospered, grew in strength and stature under the heavens, until the clans, they're probably talking about the warrior cats, you know? I'm a member of the Wind Clan myself. Until the clans settled in the sea coasts neighboring over the Whale Road. The Whale Road? You guys made a road out of a whale? I live in Oklahoma. Here the roads are just... They're less roads and more holes with some roads on them. Over the Whale Road, all must obey him and give tribute. He was a good king. Okay, so Skywild Sheffing is the king. And he was born without clothes. 10-4. He made a road out of a whale. All right. A boy child was afterwards born to Skywild. A young child in Hall-yard, a hope for the people, sent them by God. The griefs long endured were not unknown to him. The harshness of years without a lord. So what, they didn't have like a king for a while? That can happen? Therefore the life-bestowing wielder of glory granted them this blessing. Through the northern lands the name of Beow, the son of Skywild, sprang wildly. Beow. He wasn't a wolf yet. Apparently he had to earn that. For in youth and atheling... Oh, he was part of that Chicago improv troupe.
Chicago Improv, an unfiltered look at the cutthroat world of Chicago's improv comedy scene.
For in youth and atheling should so use his virtue, give with a free hand while in his father's house, that in old age, when enemies gather, established friends shall stand by him and serve him gladly. It is by glorious action that a man comes by honor in any people. People have to read this in school. I never had to read Beowulf. But I like the White Stripes monster. He's going to fight him off. Seven Nation Army couldn't hold him back. At the hour shaped for him, Skawild departed. Oh, he's leaving. Bye, Skawild. The hero crossed into the keeping of his lord. Oh, so Skawild died. Gotcha. They carried him out to the edge of the sea.
Somewhere beyond the sea, he's there watching for Steve.
Whenever there's a me in a song, I always change it to Steve. What was I? They carried him out to the edge of the sea, his sword, arms fellows, as he had himself desired them, while he wielded his words. Warden of the Skawildings, beloved folk founder, long had he ruled. Folk founder. I think they're talking about Bob Dylan.
You only got 10.
A boat with a ringed neck rode in the haven. A ringed neck? Like... Icy out eager the Atheling's vessel, and there they laid out their lord and master. Oh, this is like a Viking funeral. I've seen Thor. And Thor 2, unfortunately. They laid out their lord and master, dealer of wound gold. Wound gold. That's like one of those cash for gold places. Do you need gold? Come on in to Wounds for Gold. We'll stab you in the side and then give you 20 gold pieces. Dealer of wound gold in the waist of the ship, in majesty by the mast. That's going to be my biography name. In majesty by the mast. The Mr. Steve story. Ooh, I got chills. I got goose pimples. A mound of treasures from far countries was fetched aboard her, and it is said that no boat was ever more bravely fitted out with the weapons of a warrior, war accoutrement, sword and body armor. Okay, so they're giving Skawild a funeral, and they're putting his body on a boat, and then they're like pushing it off, and it's filled with stuff like gold and treasures and war accoutrements. On his breast were set treasures and trappings to travel with him on his far faring into the flood sway. Yeah, whenever I pass on, just to be safe, I want you to bury me with all of this. Just all of it. All of it. Especially my poop emoji doll from the Emoji Movie. I need that when I cross to the other side. Treasures and trappings to travel with him on his far faring into the flood sway. The flood sway. You know what the flood is? Flood is my favorite They Might Be Giants album from when I was in high school. This hoard was not less great than the gifts he had had. From those who at the outset had adventured him overseas alone, a small child. You shouldn't put two hads next to each other. Man, whoever wrote Beowulf should sign up for Grammarly. I see so many ads for Grammarly on YouTube and online and everything that basically this company is stalking Mr. Steve. It's creepy. High overhead, they hoisted and fixed a gold signum. Oh, man. How many of you kids have a gold signum? Gave him to the flood. Why is the world in love again? Let the seas take him with sour hearts. Well, I want some sour candy now. Don't you guys want some sour candy? With sour hearts and morning mood. Oh, same. Same. All of 2020. Sour hearts and morning mood. Men under heaven's shifting skies, though skilled in counsel, cannot say surely who unshipped that cargo. Then for a long space there lodged in the stronghold Beowulf the Dane, dear king of his people, famed among nations. They said it. They said it. His father had taken leave of the land. Yeah, okay, so Skawild died, and now his son Beowulf is in charge. 10-4. When late was born to him the Lord Healfdene. Healfdene? Lifelong the ruler and far war-feared patriarch of the proud Skawildings. I'm doing a story time, and you do not have a shirt. So, okay, so Skawile died. Scott Beowulf is the king. And now there's this other person, when late was born to him, the Lord Healfden, lifelong the ruler and war-feared patriarch of the proud Skawildings. He next fathered 4 children that leapt into the world. Oh, so the babies just leapt out. This leader of armies, Hirorogar and Hrothgar. I'm sorry, I had to sneeze there. Oh, man, I gotta sneeze. I gotta sneeze again. Hold on. Hrothgar! Excuse me. I am having way too much fun reading Beowulf. This is weird. Okay. And Halga the Good, and Ursula, and Cruella de Vil, and that awesome guy with the top hat from Princess and the Frog. Underrated film. And Ursula, I have heard, who was O'Neill's queen, knew the bed's embrace of the battle Skawile things. Whatever. That sounds like a rumor. You're like, Ursula, I have heard. Like, excuse me. Talk to the hand. I don't deal in rumor. Okay? Then to Hrothgar was granted glory in battle, mastery of the field, so friends and kingsmen gladly obeyed him, and his band increased to a great company. Oh, so the polyphonic spree. It came into his mind that he would command the construction of a huge mead hall. Oh, so he's building like a big place where everyone can drink and party. A house greater than men on earth ever had heard of, and share the gifts God had bestowed on him upon his floor with folk, young and old, apart from public land and the persons of slaves. Oof. Far and wide, as I heard, in parentheses, the work was given out in many a tribe over Middle Earth, the making of the mead hall. Okay, so all of these different tribes are like, hey, yo, I'm building a giant mead hall. Y'all need a job, and everyone's coming from all these different lands to help build this massive mead hall. Hope they have churros in the mead hall and Dole Whips. There are some people on YouTube that are going insane without Disney parks open. Anyway. And as men reckon, the day of readiness dawned very soon for this greatest of houses. Heorot, he named it, whose word ruled a wide empire. Okay, so we've built his mead hall, and he named it Heorot. I haven't named my background. I should name my background just like Hrothgar has named his mead hall. Oh, well, I gotta call my background Hrothgar, because that's so fun to say. Hrothgar. Hrothgar! You know, you can't say it like Tiny Ways. You go, oh, Hrothgar. No, you've got to say, mighty Hrothgar! Heorot, he named it, whose word ruled a wide empire. He made good his boast, gave out rings, armbands at the banquet. That's interesting. He's giving out merch. Yo, what up? It's your boy Hrothgar. Be sure and like and subscribe. I sub for sub. Be sure and check out our merch. The brand new armbands are in stock, but only for a limited time. Be sure and get those. This video is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends, the most famous game in all the realms. That was creepy. That was creepy how that just came out. Didn't plan any of that. That was weird. I am having way too much fun reading Beowulf. This is actually fun. Boldly the hall reared its arched gables. I like green gables. Unkindled the torch flame. They were unkindled and unnooked. That's a e-reader joke. Unkindled the torch flame that turned it to ashes. The time was not yet when the blood feud should bring out again sword hatred and sword kindred. Okay, so they're saying like, hey, FYI, Gonna be some huge sword hatred soon. Not yet. Wait for it. Gotcha. It was with pain that the powerful spirit dwelling in darkness endured that time. Hearing daily the hall filled with loud amusement. Well, there's your thing right there. This is all Hrothgar's fault. Oh man, we're gonna build this mead hall. It's gonna be a super sweet mead hall. Where should we build this giant mead hall? Huh, maybe we should build it over there, right next to the darkness? You think that's a good place? And everyone's like, yo, Hrothgar, yo, Hrothi, yo, Hrothi, maybe we shouldn't build this mead hall next to the darkness. And they're like, yeah, I hear you, fam, but because it's so near the darkness, I can get land for, like, super cheap. We're building the mead hall there. So, this is all Hrothi's fault. And apparently, okay, so there's darkness. The darkness! And it's hearing all the people having fun in the mead hall, laughing, clinking glasses, playing pinball. They probably have a foosball table, and the darkness is like, I want to play foosball. Beowulf! I don't know why people complain. Before I was like, I can't believe people read this, but I don't know why people are complaining. This is like super fun. This is super fun. Okay, so the darkness, hearing daily the hall filled with loud amusement. There was the music of the harp, the clear song of the poet, perfect in the telling of the remote first making of man's race. He told how long ago the Lord formed earth, a plan bright to look on, locked in ocean, Billy Ocean.
Carrot Queen, now sharing the same dream. Then a heart can beat as one. Do-do-do-do. No more love on the run.
This is so much fun. Okay. Locked in ocean, exulting established the sun and the moon as lights to illuminate the land dwellers. Suddenly we're like, oh, here's a bit of a flashback. Okay, so let me tell you about how the darkness arrived. But first, a flashback. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And it's like, whoa, went a bit too far back. And furnished forth the face of earth with limbs and leaves. Life he then granted to each kind of creature that creeps and moves. Okay, are we done with this flashback? So the company of men led a careless life. All was well with them until one began to encompass evil, an enemy from hell. Garfield, they called this cruel spirit. Oh, doth he hate the Mondays, and eateth of the lasagna. Oh, wait, Grendel. There you go. I'm sorry, I got my G's confused.
But I'm still hungry. More food. More food.
Bring me the one they call Odie. I doth push him off of yonder mead table.
Oh my god.
This is awesome. Grendel they called this cruel spirit. The fell and fen his fastness was. The march his haunt. This unhappy being had long lived in the land of monsters. Oh, so California. Since the Creator cast them out as kindred of Cain. For that killing of Abel, the eternal Lord took vengeance. Oh, I know all about this. Okay, so let me tell you what's going on here. So, there was the darkness, heard the mead hall, was all like, I don't like that. And so the evil became a monster. The monster's name is Grendel. Grendel is related to Cain. Now, I know the entire story of Cain. So, Cain is evil because Cain is always trying to kill his brother, the Undertaker. See, when they were younger, the Undertaker burned Cain's face, and that's why Cain wears his red mask. That's why they call him the Big Red Machine. The Undertaker and Cain's story is so complicated that, in like the early 2000s, they wrote a full-length novel explaining the backstory. I can't think of any other professional wrestler that has such a complicated backstory that they're like, let's bring some authors in. We'll write a 600-page novel. For that killing of Abel, the eternal Lord took vengeance. There was no joy of that feud. A family feud. Yeah. I also feel no joy when I see Steve Harvey's mustache. Far from mankind. See? Cain, mankind. It's a whole wrestling thing in Scott Beowulf. Far from mankind, God drove him out for his deed of shame. You don't want to spend the weekend in the box of shame, do you?
Hi, Penny. Hi, guys.
From Cain came down all kinds misbegotten, ogres and elves and evil shades, as also the giants, the New York Giants, who joined in long wars with God. He gave them their reward. With the coming of night came Grendel also, saw the great house and how the Ringdanes held their hall when the horn had gone round. He found in Heorot the forces of nobles and of barns and of nobles, slept after supper, sorrow forgotten, the condition of men. Maddening with rage, he struck quickly creatures of evil. Grim and greedy, he grasped on their palates. Thirsty warriors. And away he was out of there, thrilled with his catch. He carried off homeward his glut of slaughter, sought his own halls. Oh, so this is what Grendel is doing. He's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go over to the mead hall, just take a few people, then leave. And that's what he's doing. He's going in and he's like, I'll take you, and you, and you, and you. Har! Hrothgar! That's going to be my new exclamation. He's like, whoa, Hrothgar! Kids, stop torturing the cat! Hrothgar! How long have I been doing this video? Almost a half hour. Wow, I'm amazing. I am amazing. So, Grendel is doing like snatch and grabs, basically. He carried off homeward his glut of slaughter. I saw Slaughter in the early 90s. I'm just full of music. I've got the music in my soul! Oh, good. Sought his own halls. As the day broke... Oh, well, you're going to have to return it. Hope you kept the receipt. As the day broke with the dawn's light, Grendel's outrage was openly to be seen. Night's table laughter turned to morning's lamentation. Lord Hrothgar sat silent then. The strong man mourned. Glorious king. He grieved for his thanes as they read the traces of a terrible foe, a cursed fiend that was too cruel a fiend, too long, too hard. Nor did he let them rest. But the next night brought new horrors, did more murder, manslaughter, and outrage, and shrank not from it. He was too set on these things. Okay, so like Grendel comes in, like, okay, boom, boom, I'm gonna eat you, I'm gonna take you back to my place, and ha ha ha. And then Lord Hrothgar comes in, and he's like, oh, this is the worst day. Let's go to sleep. And then the next night, it happens again. It was not remarked then, if a man looked for sleeping quarters quieter, less central among the outer buildings, now openly shown, the new hall thane's hatred was manifest and unmistakable. Each survivor then kept himself at safer distance. Oh, they're explaining the coronavirus. Each survivor then kept himself at safer distance. Yeah, same. So Grendel became ruler. Against right he fought, one against all. Oh, so now Grendel's in charge. Oh, well, good for him. Empty then stood the best of houses, and for no brief space, for 12 long winters, torment sat over the fiend of the Skawildings, fierce sorrows and woes of every kind. Oh, so now Grendel's in charge, and is in charge for 12 years? Man, Grendel.
Papa, what are you doing in my glasses case?
Fierce sorrows and woes of every kind, which was not hidden from the sons of men, or the sons of anarchy, but was made known in grieving songs. Oh, grieving songs. Okay, Oh, 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 don't you hate it when Grendel eats your friends? Oh, don't you hate it when your meat hall gets all smash, smash, smash? Oh, Hrothgar, 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 Hrothgar. Grieving songs, how Grendel warred long on Hrothgar. Oh, I spit a little bit. The harms he did him through wretched years of wrong, outrage, and persecution. Peace was not in his mind towards any companion of the court of Hrothgar. The feud was not abated. The blood price was unpaid. Nor did any counselor, even Counselor Troy? Nor did any counselor have cause to look for a bright man price at the murderer's hand. The dark death shadow drove always against them, young and old. Abominable, he watched and waited for them, walked night long the misty moorland. Men know not where hell's familiars fleet on their errands. Dude, I'm already on page 8. Good for me. You know what? I'm going to stop it there because this is like over a half hour. But I got to say, number one, Beowulf is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought that this was going to be horrible, but no, this is fun. I had fun reading this adult epic poem to you kids. Did you have fun? Hopefully you did, you know? I'm workshopping some thumbnails. How about this? Beowulf, and then right there. That's the thumbnail. That was fun. Hey, I'm going to put this over here, and maybe we can read it again. I probably won't. I don't know if anybody actually will watch this or is interested, but I had fun, and hopefully you did too. So that's the end of this very strange story time. But I had fun. I had fun with Hrothgar and the evil monster Garfield. So be sure and like and subscribe and all of those things that I'm supposed to say because I'm a YouTuber. We'll see you later, guys. Bye!